Hey, I'm Todd. Thanks for choosing to watch my video, and if you would subscribe it, like it, all that stuff, that'd be great. Otherwise, enjoy the video, and I hope it gives you the information you need and is helpful to you. Take care. Looking at 2010 Chevy Camaro rear wheel drive. Gonna do the rear CV axle and even the seal. I use 22 millimeter. Then we'll remove the axle nut. You put a screwdriver in the fins of the rotor. Put a screwdriver in there, probably right in here or down here, because we'll be going this way. So then, or this way, sorry, I apologize. Lefty loosey, righty tighty, as I always say. So put a screwdriver in here, and we'll loosen this up and take the caliper assembly off. Looks like 13 millimeter bolts for the bracket. So we'll take this off, take the nut off. Alright, took off the 32 millimeter nut, which they do recommend replacing with a new one. 18 millimeter bolt, took this off. 10 millimeter bolt, took off the speed sensor here. Make an 18 millimeter bolt and nut, went through here. Just gonna wiggle this back and forth and wiggle this back and forth to get the bolt out. And then lastly, I think we're gonna take off this bolt here and nut, probably 18 millimeter again. We'll take this off, set it free from here. And what else? Oh, 10 millimeter bolt here. So for the brake line, for some freedom, we can maybe leave the caliper on here. This is pushing through just fine. Take off this last lower bolt, again 18 millimeter. Everything seems to be 18 millimeter nut and bolt setup. And we'll lay this off to the side on this cart. So interestingly enough, they want us to look for a clip in here, according to my information. If there's no clip, install a new clip. So we have a new clip right here, new seal that we're doing. So that clip would go on there, right on here. So we're just gonna get that axle out of there then. Just used a pry bar over here to get behind the axle and give it a pop out. And now it's out. Pull the seal out. So again, we just got a large pry bar and got between the differential and the CV here, and just gave it a couple good whacks and it popped out. Little C-clip usually holds it in place right here inside there. So C-clip, and we got the bearing surface and the place for the seal to ride. So that is removing your CV axle assembly out of your 2010 Chevy Camaro in the rear. It took a little bit of grease, and I lifted up this clip and I stuck the grease in the grooves a little bit to try and hold this maybe in place so it doesn't droop too much. My opinion is it might help install it easier so it doesn't get caught. So it's just a matter of sliding this back in and give it a good couple pushes and hopefully drive it into the axle. Right in with no problem. I got this clip on here now. Instructions said if it wasn't there to put it on there, so it's on there. You can put it back together the same way we took it apart. A lot of these bolts had blue Loctite on there, so we'll throw a couple drops on the bolts. You do want to make sure you start your bolts by hand. Don't try and drive them in with the impact or something, because you could start stripping bolts, which would be bad. So, I'm gonna work these in, and you might even have someone help. You could make it easier because you have to do a little twisting and turning to make everything fit back into place. So, just put this bolt back in here, put this bolt back in here, put the brake line up on top, and that's what we're doing here. Looks like they want this bolt 44 foot-pounds plus 90 degrees for tightening for that one on the top. This looks like it's 103 foot-pounds for that one. And then 30 foot-pounds and then 120 degree turn on the nut and bolt setup underneath here for you. This is also 30 foot-pounds plus 120 degrees. Looks like the fill hole and the drain hole right there on the driver's side of the axle. Just using my 3/8 ratchet. Fits in the hole real nice. So we're going to top it off with 75 W90 synthetic. We got a pumper, we can just pump fluid right in here. Maybe use some, I don't know how much is leaked out, use some small Dixie cups maybe, or some paper, or buy yourself a little baby pumper. Ooh, that's icky fluid we're going to drain and fill. That's what we're going to do. So we'll leave that loose and we'll break this loose and we'll just drain out the old and fill up with new stuff. We'll put a new nut on at 199 foot-pounds. Wheel lug nuts are 140 foot-pounds. Tighten them in a crisscross pattern. Start all nuts and bolts by hand as we've talked about. Crisscross those and then tighten them down 140 foot-pounds. And that should complete your rear CV axle replacement job on your 2010 and other model years Chevy Camaro. If it looks like this setup, when you take the wheel off or look underneath it, it's probably going to work for you. So we stacked this on top of it to install the new one. Seal driver, nothing too fancy.